All right, let's get this thing up and running. Let's check how I've got this framed and all that fun stuff. If I can get this stuff to cooperate. Hey, how's everybody doing? There we go. Let's tilt that up a little bit. Sorry, this is gonna jiggle a little bit more than it was. That, how are we doing there? That's solid, I'll take it. Hey, folks, how goes it? This has been, it's annoying because I had a nice enough weekend, but this work week, not my favorite of late. So, yeah, already with the hair today. Well, I mean, I've been starting with it down more often on the live streams. How are you? I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my car. I'm waiting to hear what it's going to cost me to fix whatever the heck is wrong with it. And it's just a question of whether, well, I was going to say it's a question of whether it makes more sense for me to just put a down payment on a replacement car. That actually does make more sense, but I can't afford that. So what I'm probably going to have to do is pay whatever it costs me to keep my car running and hope that it doesn't completely fall apart before I'm able to save up enough for a down payment on something else. And I don't like that plan. I actually actively hate it because I don't like any plan that is basically dependent on nothing else going wrong. It feels naive, but like I can't afford a down payment on a replacement. So that's kind of what I'm stuck with. I hate driving with a furious passion. I don't mind driving. I hate the expenses involved with owning a car. That's what I hate. Finally made a live stream. Hello from Liverpool. Welcome. Are you wishing the U.S. had good public transportation? Well, some of the U.S. does have good public transportation. I've lived in places with good public transportation. I lived in New York City. Lived in Boston, which is decent. But right now I live in Vermont. This is a rural, sparsely populated area. Me even having the expectation of there being public transport where I live, it would be a little ridiculous, to be frank about it. This is when I'm glad I get free public transport. Yeah, no, that would be amazing. Well, I think you need a bike. Yeah, problem is, where I currently work, it's a half-hour drive by car on the highway. So aside from the fact that trying to bike it would probably take me 2 to 3 hours, there's also the fact that you can't ride a bike on the highway, so it'd be illegal for me to try. If you get a new car, you might not need a down payment if you spread out the loan. I did that, though it was years ago. I mean, there are ways around it. But my worry is that if I don't do a down payment, I am afraid that that's going to land me with monthly payments that are going to break my back. So I know what I can handle monthly payment wise, and I kind of need to make a decent down payment so that doesn't kill me. But what can you do? Roller skate it. So buses aren't an option? Where I live, no. There's no buses. I mean, technically there's like a literal like local transport for like some of the assisted living on the edge of town to like intermittently come downtown. So, but that's it. Like there's nothing that goes from where I live to where I work. I mean, this is kind of the reason I don't want to have a car or learn to drive. If you can avoid having to drive, I recommend you do that. Oh, thank you, Blake. Much appreciated. What are you eating? I am eating raspberries. I have a Seventh Doctor themed mug. Nice. I live in the country. What are buses? Yeah. Yeah. Burns, you and I, like, that's pretty much right where I am too. Do you work out? Because no, I don't work out. And actually, like, more to the point, like this, I have lost muscle mass because I'm on T blockers. So like whatever muscle definition I used to have, like this is doing, like this is, it is significantly harder for me to pick up stuff that used to be much easier for me to pick up. So I just moved out of my uni and the buses were hell today. I mean, like in the world of public transport, buses actually, ugh, like it was usually, it was a really bad part of my my commute when I was in Boston or New York, if any part of it involved a bus. Like subways are great. Like they're terrible, but they're great. They're terrible because everything's kind of terrible. But I'm gonna be in California for 3 weeks for acting gigs I got. Whoa! Congratulations! His working out relies on lifting mugs with water. Yeah, pretty much. Are you transitioning? Oh, okay. So, are you transitioning, or why are you taking testosterone blockers? I've talked about this elsewhere, but I'll just, since not everyone knows, I'll just mention it real quick. I'm not a trans woman, so no, I'm not transitioning the way most people mean that when they ask. Because I'm not on estrogen. So being on testosterone blockers, the idea is to basically sort of set my default to something closer to a neutral, because previously, you know, just my default was male. That's just what it was. So that meant that being gender fluid, if I was in a feminine mindset, it was a lot of work to get myself feeling like I was properly embodying my femininity. By bringing my testosterone down, because I'm actually not even on the full dose that I would be on if I was transitioning to life as a woman, but by bringing my testosterone down, it sort of sets my default something closer to the middle, which makes it more or less an equal amount of effort for me to go feminine or go masculine, and not more work to do one or the other. So that's sort of the theory behind that. And I've been on testosterone blockers for about 1.5 years, a little bit more than that now. The buses in Japan were legendary. U.S. public transportation is a joke. Well, yes, U.S. public transportation in the vast majority of places is not anything to brag about. Taxis are too expensive. Yeah, boy. I remember when I worked in Boston, because I worked at a bar. And the thing is, Boston, for as large a city as it is, it basically shuts down at midnight. Like, everything closes. And that included the bar. I think last call was like quarter to 12, and then kicked everybody out by 1 a.m. But at the time I was there, they had just discontinued the Night Owl bus service. They brought it back, but at the time I was working there was no late night bus. And so that meant when I got out of work at the bar at about 2 or 3 in the morning, my options were either wait 3 hours for the subways to start running again, or blow half my tips on a taxi home. And it was usually the latter. Oh, thank you, Connor. I find it demeaning that certain organizations are accusing Thomas the Tank Engine of being hateful propaganda. As a childhood fan, that cuts me deep. Okay, I've missed that. It's funny sometimes. I think because I have some opinions on representation and things like that, I think people expect me to be dialed into the controversies, and I'm usually not. Like, I'll stumble across them, and people will bring them to my attention, but like half the time I see something like that, I'm like, wait, what's going on now? So I'm actually totally out of the loop on that. Doctor Who or Harry Potter? Well, I mean, if you're gonna make me pick, it's gonna be Doctor Who, but I do like them both quite a bit. Have you seen the Aladdin live action movie? No! And my daughter did not ask to see it. This coming weekend, I'll have to go see Secret Life of Pets 2, because there's no way that she won't want to see that, but, you know, I'll live through that. Ah, nice hair. Thank you. Thank you very much. Who would you cast as the Doctor? I don't really do the fan cast thing. My brain doesn't quite work that way in terms of envisioning who's the best actor to play this part. Like, I like to think I'm decent at assessing how good it might work when someone is actually cast or is being rumored, but like actually making the initial proposition, it's rarely my bag. Are you hyped for Toy Story 4? I'm not. I'm just not. You should see Rocket Man. I have seen Rocket Man! Liz and I went to that on Friday night. Went to see that. It was pretty good. I liked that it was done as a flat-out musical, where like the characters actually burst into the Elton John songs, because structurally it is very similar to just sort of the standard template for musical biopics. So I think doing it that way made it a little bit different and made it more enjoyable, because otherwise it would have been very rote, and it would have felt like, especially in the wake of Bohemian Rhapsody, it would have felt pretty derivative. But you know, by having that distinctly different approach to it, that actually that helped. That boosted it. It wasn't perfect. There was about 10 or 15 minutes towards the tail end that I'm like, I figure you put those there because it was a significant enough event in his life that people would have thought it was weird if you didn't include it, but like narratively, that shouldn't be there. Fam, there's controversies over Rocket Man being straight-washed. See it again when I get back to Rocket. I remember. It was, what was it? It was in Russia, wasn't it? I saw the headline. I didn't read the article. But yeah, I think it was like the Russian release of the film got massively edited to remove the homosexual content, i.e. what a very large chunk of the movie is about, because like, not to belabor the point, but not only is Elton John a gay man, Elton John's a very gay man. Just, yeah. That's, I mean, you know, it's the Russian release, and given the current Russian climate on LGBTQ plus rights, I'm not shocked, but, you know. Have you seen Us? I haven't, but I think it's finally like hitting digital or whatnot, so I'm gonna see if I can get it without like having to pay for the full price of the movie, because I really still want to see that. The Rocket Man staff actually said we're sad that the movie was censored. I love that they didn't hide it at all. That actually is nice. It's nice that they weren't making excuses for it, because that tends to happen a fair amount of times, because that's the corporate line, because the studios releasing these still want it in that market, even cut down. I mean, this is kind of what I talked about when I talked about the Chinese market a couple months ago. So it's nice that if not the studio involved, at the very least the people making it felt free, that they could freely express why this is screwed up. So that was nice. They weren't expected to toe the company like, hang on, Elton John is gay? Mel Brooks is Jewish? I heard a David Bowie biopic is in the works. I think it has been for a while. Like, even before he died, I think it has been. Do you still want Mr. Finch to return someday in Doctor Who? Yes. Always and yes and forever. Favorite Don Bluth film? It's really tough for me between Secret of Nim and All Dogs Go to Heaven. I I think I lean towards All Dogs Go to Heaven. I'm not sure it's actually a better movie. I just like it a little bit more. Would you rather see Batman movie having Robin or Nightwing in it? I mean, I think it's time to try and have Nightwing or Robin, because the movies have been avoiding it ever since Batman and Robin, which was over 20 years ago now. So I think we're overdue to take another crack at it. Oh, that reminds me. So, first of all, it's funny to me that the Robert Pattinson video that I put out is doing as well as it did, because like I said, like everyone's picked over this when it was back at a rumor, and so I didn't expect much out of the video, and yet it's like my best performing thing in about 2 weeks. So like, I obviously don't know anything, but there was a surprising number of comments that are like, oh no, I don't see him as Batman, I see him as Nightwing or Robin or Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis. And I have to wonder how much of that is because they think that he's younger than he is. Because Robert Pattinson is actually older now than Christian Bale was when he made Batman Begins. So I wonder about that. Slightly more partial to All Dogs Go to Heaven only because it's set in New Orleans and it's hardly seen in animation. Fair point. Would you like to see Frobisher come to the main series or even make a one-off appearance on the main show? I love Frobisher to death. I think he's too ridiculous for a main episode. You know where they need to bring him back? They need to have him in a short, in a Red Nose Day special Doctor Who short. Make him official. Make him canon. Your shirt is giving me Wicked vibes. Yeah, this is my Green Mountain Cabaret shirt. Let's see. Just love how quick the missing Doctor Who is coming out after the Macra Terror. Yeah, they're getting really good about getting stuff out there to fill in the gaps. I vowed to find every one of your videos, watching and like it. Sleep can wait. Oh dear God, man. I've almost got 1,000 videos up on this darn site. Granted, not all of them are as long as they tend to be now. Like nowadays they run about 12 to 18 minutes on average. You go back to the other ones and they're under 5. But like, God, I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to dissuade you, but Godspeed. Seriously. In any case, Pattinson's a little younger to be Batman a la year 1. I mean, we don't know exactly what the timeline is on this yet. I mean, for how many villains are rumored, and it is rumor at this point, let me be emphatic about that. For how many villains are rumored to be in this new Batman film that they're working on, I would expect he would have had to have been Batman for a few years already. Because they're looking to kind of, nothing is indicating that they're covering Batman's origin. They want to jump into a story. So even if they're setting it before, I mean, like, I don't even know if it's supposed to be in continuity with the rest of the DC movies anymore. I don't think anybody knows at this point. 3 words for you, Good Omens review. I've started watching it, for crying out loud. It just came out Friday. I spent the weekend with my partner. I'm sorry that I haven't binged through it. I started watching it yesterday. All right, I'm halfway through it. I'll be done with it soon. Reviews on Friday. There. Good? Good. Have you seen the Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie? I have not. I'm behind several on DC animated related stuff because the Justice League Fatal 5 thing also came out, and I haven't seen that yet either. Oh God, that's right. Dark Phoenix comes out in a few days. Oh boy, Dark Phoenix is that's gonna be a special kind of pain. Do you think Star Trek The Next Generation would work as big finish audio dramas? Yeah, easily. Binging shows is against my religion. Let it slow cook, dudes. Like, it takes a special kind of show for me to properly binge through it. Like, I binged through the entire second season of She-Ra in one night. To be fair, it was only about 3.5 hours to watch the entire thing, but I like about 3 hours is pretty much my limit in one sitting. So if it's a half-hour show, like maybe 6 episodes. If it's an hour show, about 3. That's kind of my limit, and that's where I'm like, I need to start doing something else. The Batman TMNT is really good, and I see a Mikey behind you there. Oh yeah, I forgot I added him up there on the shelf. You said you wouldn't want to live in the culture because it's too utopian. Would you want to live in the Federation of Planets? It's hard for me to say because while I do consider myself to be a Star Trek fan, I've never gotten into the extra material. So I don't know. I have a good sense of what life on an exploratory vessel is like, i.e. the Enterprise, Voyager, etc. But like day-to-day living for someone who isn't in Starfleet, I honestly don't really know what that's like. So I feel like I can't make a call on that. I'm about halfway through Player of Games, by the way. So that's chugging along. With the 3rd season of The Handmaid's Tale coming, have you seen it? I have not. I fear I would be too depressed by it. Plus, I don't have Hulu. Who's your least favorite superhero from either Marvel or DC? I don't know. Guy Gardner? I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to say because if I don't like a superhero, I just avoid them. And so if I'm not being subjected to them, I can't get riled up. Like, oh, I really don't like them. It's like, because if they're not jiving, I just avoid them. So, I kind of joke Guy Gardner, but even that, I can't really stand behind it. Anyone want to see Pattinson as first-time parent Batman with little Dick Grayson? Honestly, I'd kind of like to... I'd prefer just to have them jump in on an established Batman-Robin dynamic. Just because I just think it would be... I just think them try... I fear there's a lot more stumbling blocks for them trying to establish that from the ground up as opposed to just kind of having it already be a thing. Did you see the teaser for the Picard TV series? I did! It's a teaser. Woo. Have you seen the HBO series Chernobyl? Nope, because I dropped HBO as soon as Game of Thrones ends. I am a cliche. Thoughts on the Orville? I really need to get back to watching it because I'm still only slightly into the first season. But again, it is the constant enemy that I keep bumping up against, and that is time. There is never enough of it. Big Finish have a Trek range. I think it's based on a comic series. Huh. Is it with any surviving cast, or is it like completely original set in Trek universe kind of deal? What villain do you see as overrated without deserving of the attention? Green Goblin is severely overrated in the pantheon of Spider-Man villains. Like, he's not very interesting. He did one seminal thing, which was his participation in the death of Gwen Stacy. But other than that, I never think of him as Spidey's nemesis. Doc Ock is. So I feel like Green Goblin is severely overrated. That's not to say that he's bad. He's fine. Is Gurgay an unlikable protagonist? This is a question about the Player Games. I'm not going to answer a ton of questions about it because you got to wait for the review to come out. What I will say is, if the story had stayed set in the culture, he might have been. Because then I would have been asked to sympathize with somebody who's basically living a very cushy life and is kind of a entitled prick about it. But because they've moved him out of his element, that makes him more sympathetic. So that helps. And that kind of helps soften him because it creates an underdog scenario for somebody who, on his home turf, very much not an underdog. What would you like to see in Phase 4 of the MCU? Kamala Khan. That is #1 priority, as far as I am concerned. I think it's because of nostalgia in the first Spider-Man movie in 2002. I think that's part of it. But I remember, like, even before the movie came out, like, a bunch of Spider-Man fans like, yeah, it couldn't be anybody but the Green Goblin. And I was like, really? Because you're wrong. Do you play any video games? Nothing recent. I actually started playing Dragon Crown again, which I haven't touched in years. But now I'm working through with the Elf. I'd played it through with the Amazon previously. It's rumored that the next animated Spider-Verse movie will have an all-female protagonist. Do you think it can go wrong? Well, I mean, like, last I heard, because there's supposed to be a proper sequel to Spider-Verse, but, like, I'd heard that what was on the fast track was the one with Gwen Stacy, with the Ghost Spider. So, and the idea of having her additionally crossover with, say, Spider-Girl and Spider-Woman, if Sony even has the rights to her, they might not. But, like, with those, or Silk, or those variants, that makes sense to me. I don't think there's any inherent pitfalls in that didn't already exist in Into the Spider-Verse. So if they could navigate Into the Spider-Verse and make not only a good movie, but one of the best movies of that year, and the best Spider-Man movie, and one of the best superhero movies ever made, then no, I'm not too worried about them juggling more than one woman. Oh dear, it's 12:30 a.m., and I have to fly from London to New York City tomorrow, and I just know I'll be exhausted. Meg, you don't get to blame me if you are cranky on the plane. I'm just saying. Who's your favorite Batman villain? I mean, I know the Joker is the cliche answer, but it kind of is. Like, not always. There are takes on the Joker that I don't like. But I get excited at the Joker's involvement and stuff. I can't help it. And I know that's the cliche answer, and I should have, like, a deeper cut to show off, you know, my my big geek energy. But, like, I like the Joker. What can I say? I don't want to bother you, but when is the next Doctor Who video dropping? Tomorrow. Doctor Who videos are always Wednesday and Sunday. Wednesday is the overdue Doctor Who reviews because I'm still doing the rewatch. And then Sunday is whatever I'm doing that week. So, tomorrow. Which Joker takes do you not like? I didn't love New 52 Joker. And I haven't been following it, but the whole thing with, like, the 3 Joker timeline, I didn't, like, I have no interest. And Brian Azzarello did his standalone Joker thing, which I didn't care for. So, like, there's things like that don't quite work for me. Be right back. Time to get the laundry. Oh, that's always fun, isn't it? Favorite film score? I mean, all time is Braveheart. I've got a video from a few months back, I think it was last year, for my favorite film scores of all time. So I've got a list. Those raspberries look good. They are. I feel like the Joker is a bit hit or miss. He can be. I think it has a lot to do with whether or not the writers are trying to reinvent the wheel with him. I think the Joker works best when they just throw him in to be a wild card thing. Like, I love the way he completely throws off things like Hush or No Man's Land because nobody can predict what the heck he's gonna do. But when writers, like, make it a mission to tackle the Joker, they tend to just try and reinvent the wheel, and you don't have to. Was there anyone that liked anything about the New 52? New 52 Batgirl was pretty good. Now, having said that, taking Barbara Gordon out of the wheelchair, I still disagree with. But If they were going to do that, which they did, then that story that they did for New 52 was actually quite good. At least for the several volumes that I read. Maybe it went off the rails later. I don't know. How are you getting on with Altered Carbon? 4 episodes in on that. I'm plugging away at that as well. I'm getting there. I'm working. I'm plugging at this stuff and like so much editing. This Cowboy Bebop video is gonna break me. Like, it's driving me crazy. Joker was utilized perfectly in The Mask of the Phantasm. That's a good, yes. That's a good example where, like, it's not about him, but his presence throws everything off. Like in a fun way. Not like, he shouldn't be here, but like, oh God, this psycho showed up. Crap. That's how I like him best. Doctor Who Experience has shut down. Yeah, I heard about that. I discovered the Lion King score on Spotify, and it's amazing. It's the Legacy Collection. Now, Kara, if you haven't listened to the score from the Broadway show, you should, because there's a couple of songs in that were done specifically for, well, sort of specifically for. A lot of them were based off tracks done for an album called Rhythm of the Pride Lands, which is not music that actually appeared in the movie, but was done by the same people and inspired by it. Specifically, there is a track called Shadowlands from the theatrical version of The Lion King, which is gorgeous. It's great. And if you haven't heard that, you need to. Ever watch Blake 7? Nope. I did hear about Paul Darrow, though. So anyone who are fans, heart goes out to you. Doesn't Alan Moore not like The Killing Joke? I don't think he dislikes it. I'll backtrack. From what I know of Alan Moore's comments, he doesn't think it's bad. He just doesn't think it's some of his better work. He doesn't think too highly of it. He kind of looks at it and goes, yeah, I did that. But he doesn't like disparage it. But then again, Alan Moore is also one of those artists who has a tendency to think anything he wrote more than 5 years ago is crap. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. Are you waiting for a sequel to Shazam? Because I'm waiting for it. I still haven't seen Shazam. Alan Moore doesn't like any adaptations of anything he's done. Well, yes, Alan Moore has been very clear that, like, his name doesn't show up on stuff that's adapted from his work. Because he doesn't want it to. He doesn't want royalties. He wants nothing to do with it. Pizza is my favorite type of pizza. Solid choice. You should do another plea for Patreon. It's been falling for a while. I mean, it has been, and I'm trying to... Well, see, look, here's the thing. And here's why I don't plan to currently do that. The part of the reason the support level on the Patreon has been dropping is that for a month or two, the commission tier, which is one of the more expensive tiers, was full. There are 5 slots at that tier, and they were all full. And around about half of those people, once they got in to get their commission review, dropped back down to a lower tier, which is fine. I kind of expected them to. But those tiers haven't been refilled. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, a big part of why I don't want to put a big plea out to support the Patreon again, because I kind of did at the start of the year, and it did boost things. But the thing is, my subscriber numbers have been plateaued, and they've been kind of stagnant. So the reason I don't want to put out another plea for support on the Patreon, unless I feel that I really need to, is that I'd basically be asking more out of the audience I already have. I feel like I got away with it when I did it at the start of the year because I'd had a pretty substantial subscriber gain, you know, in that last quarter of last year, basically when New Doctor Who was going on. So, like, there was a whole bunch of new people for me to make that pitch to. But now, because I haven't gained a lot more since then, I feel like I'd just be squeezing money out of the audience I already have, and I don't want to do that. I'm not the video game industry. There's a lot of fun usernames in this chat. Yeah, there are some fun ones in there. My man, I'll have to unsubscribe. I'm baffled. Sorry? I mean, I suppose some folks find me baffling. Support me or I'll shoot that Dalek. Happy Pride Month. Yes! Thank you, Kane. Thank you very much. I honestly, I tend to forget that June is Pride Month because Vermont Pride is in September for a reason that kind of makes sense but is also kind of dumb. So. Better to be baffling than boring. I will take it. Happy Pride. Any extra topic videos? I don't know. It's a matter of editing. So like I've got 2 LGBTQ plus topic videos in the can, but one of them is going to be a real pain in my butt to edit. Actually, both of them are proving to be a pain in my butt to edit. One of them significantly more than the other. Plus, I've kind of already got the month laid out. So I did have the idea of doing more than one LGBTQ plus video this month, since it is Pride Month in most places. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it together and end up with a product that I'm going to be happy with. So it's on my mind. I just don't really see it happening. Or at least I'm certainly not going to promise it. Happy Pride, you magnificent bastard. Oh, John, you bugger. Would you like to see a live action TMNT with the puppet turtles again? Well, yeah. I haven't really been blown away by the CGI turtles thus far. I would like them to go practical again. Make me want pizza, chat. Did love the pic you put up on Twitter. Which pic? Because I put the stuff that I put up on the Council of Geeks Twitter, the stuff that I put up on the Vera Wild Twitter. So I'm not even sure which one. Favorite Ninja Turtle? Raphael. That's my dude. Sorry, bad geek here. What does TMNT mean? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. How do you keep up with doing constant podcasts and other stuff? I can barely do one without a hiatus. I mean, I'm like 3 weeks behind on updating the podcast feed, so I'm not sure that's a great question to be throwing me right now. It's my dog's birthday. Her name is Pebbles. Happy birthday, Pebbles. I missed a few live screens. Did you get around to twisting? No, everything is dropping right now. Like I'm working on Altered Carbon because I got commissioned for that one. I'm working my way through Good Omens. Like I feel really bad. I want to. I will see it before the summer's over. I don't know when, but I will. Have you seen the terrible era of Don Bluth movies? The Troll in Central Park, The Pebble, and The Penguin? No, I skipped those. So, I'm quite happy for it too. Love your hair. Thank you. I had a weird crush on Michelangelo as a kid. I mean, WTF, he was a literal turtle. Well, yeah, but he was a party dude. No shame. Favorite Raphael, Rob Paulson or Sean Astin. What was the name of the guy who voiced him in the original live action movie? Because that guy. Did you ever go to the Doctor Who experience in Cardiff? I have never set foot in Cardiff, so that would be a no. Pick up every sonic screwdriver up with one hand. No, don't think so. Gonna end up dropping about half of them if I try and do that. Are you gonna have a Matt Smith costume for your 11th Doctor Overdue Who reviews? Some semblance of one. At least starting out, it is probably not gonna be as accurate as my Tenant outfit, but I've got some stuff. If it makes them feel better, my first crush was Basil of Baker Street. Ooh, Solid pick. I like Ratigan is one of the great underappreciated or forgotten Disney villains. He's awesome. Needs more John Pace. Cool. That guy. Thank you, John. I had a crush on Sven on 80s era Voltron. I never saw Voltron, so I'm gonna take your word on that. Any new Nerdlesque stories? I'm gonna be reviving my 13th Doctor number in a little less than 2 weeks. Other than that, no. I'm actually gonna have way fewer performance opportunities for Burlesque this year, for no reason other than the calendar decided to screw with me. Just because for the past couple years actually, things have lined up very well where the majority of performance opportunities, especially with the cabaret, have been on weekends that aren't the weekends I have my daughter. Well, that's fallen out of sync, and a very high, like more than 50% of stuff that would be my chance to get to perform in various burlesque shows are falling on weekends that I'm not free. I've got my kids, so I'm gonna have way less performance opportunities this year than I've usually had, which this hasn't been my best year so far on a number of fronts. Heard Chernobyl is a very good series. Have you seen it? I haven't. I saw Jeremy Johns' review of it. Sounded good. A burlesque Batman show would be funny. Oh, I guarantee you that's happened at some point. That would be really easy to throw together. I've got a Poison Ivy number. Could be in it. I had a crush on Ironheart from Silverhawks and Chitara from Thundercats. Oh, Chitara, legit. Oh, that one's truly legitimate. I'm right there with you. Have you seen Wonder? I haven't. I mean, it's just not my kind of movie. I've heard enough decent things about it. And Liz has read the book. She said that was good. Alan Cummings is sexy AF. Yes. Yeah. I think the Batman and Robin movie already achieved that. Never mind. Oh, that's in reference to something I missed. I'm not going to scroll back up through. So, forgive me for that. My first... Ooh. Now we're just sharing cartoon crushes. I love this. It is a phenomenal Poison Ivy. Oh, sorry. Pheromone nominal Poison Ivy number. Oh, JVL, you sly bugger. My first cartoon crush was Total Drama. So you can shame me for that. That's just a thing I did experience and just, no. Look, I like Total Drama. I did the first 2 seasons of Total Drama. I legitimately like that show. Excuse me. So you guys already talked about Rocket Man. Yes, basically I did cover it. It's good. I like it. If you like Elton John, definitely go see it. I had to explain Moulin Rouge to my spouse and had not seen it myself, so did not know the plot at the time. Moulin Rouge. It took me 3 times before I got through that because the opening gives me a headache. Wasn't worth it. My old special interest is getting triggered. Have you seen Brightburn? I haven't. That's not even playing anywhere near me. So, like, even if I wanted to. Are you caught up on improvised weapons? I am, in terms of listening. In terms of going back and updating the wiki, which has become my latest pastime while listening to stuff. I'm up through episode 45. So for folks who don't know, do you like Big Bang Theory? No, I hate it. But for folks who don't know, we've got John Van Luling in the chat, who is part of the cast of Improvised Weapons, which is one of my favorite podcasts. It is It is it's a real, it's an actual play D&D podcast. They're closing in on 100 episodes now. And as a way to unwind, because I've needed ways to unwind lately, I've been re-listening to old episodes and then updating the podcast's wiki. Because I've added, like, not for the episode synopsis, because I'm doing other stuff while I'm re-listening to these episodes, so I'm not sitting there to document, what everything that's going on. But I I have been updating things like notable quotes, critical fails, kill counts, the magic words to activate various spells and stuff like that. So updating the improvised weapons podcast wiki has become a bit of an unwinding pastime for me of late. You know more about our history than we do. I mean, you say that. I can't recall it off the top of my head. I would have to reference the wiki too if I was in your guys' shoes. But try and remember that, all right? Remind the rest of the group next time that, like, it's updated to almost halfway through the run of the thing. So if they're trying to remember what the magic word for something is, it might be there. Good night, people. I'll go to bed. Oh, Elfie, I didn't even realize you were here. Sleep well, my friend. Favorite Lindsay Ellis vid. I really like her review thing. There's two I really like. I really like the one she did on Bright, because that movie kind of broke her. It was kind of amazing. And then the one she did on the live action Beauty and the Beast with the recurring thanks. I hate it. I really did enjoy those. She does good work in general. I haven't seen a bad video from her. Like, it's annoying how good she is at this. Favorite Cybermen story. Ooh. Tomb of the Cybermen is right up there. I think it might be World Enough in Time for me, but, like, Tomb of the Cybermen's really, really good. That might be my favorite Second Doctor story. So that's solid picks. Let's see. One of my favorite reviews ever from South Specs over both Northern North and Strange Magic. They both broke her. I've seen those. South Specs does good work too. There's some people who are really good at this, and I'm trying to get better at it. That's why the Cowboy Bebop video is such an editing nightmare for me. I'm trying to step up my game, and it hurts. Who is this beautiful girl who has her number? Flatterer. Her PBS show is brilliant. Is it like a proper show on the channel, or is it just on the PBS YouTube? Because I've seen those. I just don't know if I'm missing out, if that's all I'm getting. What's your favorite 11th Doctor story? Like, I don't feel comfortable answering that now, because I have a feeling it's going to change once I get through the 11th Doctor, when the rewatch gets that far. Right now, it's probably going to come down, if I were to guess, it's going to come down to either the 11th Hour or Vincent and the Doctor. Vincent and the Doctor has been going up in my estimation over the years, but 11th Hour has always been top of that list in the past, so we'll see. Have you seen Vengeance on Varos? I have. I need to rewatch it, because I didn't like it that much. So I need to give it, like, a fair shake, because I know it is supposedly one of the best 6th Doctor TV episodes, which is in and of itself kind of a strange concept. Have you seen the Onward trailer? Oh, I did. I keep forgetting that I saw that. Like, it didn't leave much of an impression. Can I be honest with you, folks? I've realized I don't like Pixar nearly as much as everybody else does. And it's taken me a little while to figure out why. So I've had this come up, like, in conversations about other stuff. And I kind of figured this out in a conversation with Liz. And again, I am not saying Pixar is bad. Pixar is very good at what they do. But I finally realized what my issue with them is. And this is a vibe that I'm about to talk about. And I'll do a comparison. So, what bothers me about Pixar films, even the good ones, is that they feel like, and again, this is a vibe. I don't know if this is actually what goes on, but they feel very much like the starting point was, what are our themes? And then they build a story around the themes. Now, that means if you do it right, everything feeds into the thematics very well, but it also, to me, makes it very on the nose. And even if you do it well, it's not possible for the themes of something like Inside Out or Up or Toy Story 3 to be any more blatant than they are. Like, you couldn't if you tried. Now, if I were to compare that with something like Zootopia, and again, this is not me saying like Zootopia is the greatest animated film ever, but to explain why I love that one pretty much without reservations, whereas there's a fair amount of Pixar stuff where I'm like, yeah, but there's a lot of themes running through Zootopia. But I feel like that story, the narrative of it, would still largely be the same even without the theming. So the vibe I get off something like that is, we had a story to tell with this world and these characters. And then once they had that set up, they went, ooh, here's the theme we can weave through it. Because at the end of the day, I'm a narrative person first. Story is king for me. And while themes and thematics are great, if I feel like they're driving the story as opposed to enhancing the story, I kind of resent that a little bit. And that's the vibe I tend to get off Pixar. It feels like they came at it with a theme and built everything around the theme rather than came at it a story and a narrative that they wanted to tell and figured out the best themes to integrate into that to enhance the story. It's story serving theme as opposed to theme serving story. It's a preferential thing. I'm not saying that makes Pixar bad. It's just taken me a long time to figure out why I don't love them as much as everybody else seems to. So, there you go. I don't know if that made any sense at all, but I'll have to check my subscriber count when I get off here. How much you want to drop? How many people were watching? 90? Bet it plummeted by 90 as you all went, you didn't like Pixar that much? Gone. So the metaphor I have for that is the theme is meant to be a topping like frosting on a cupcake. That works. I don't think I've ever arrived at one of these on time. Welcome! I hope John's still in the chat because like I borrow that a lot. And again, that's improvised weapons. There's the bard character who literally cannot enter into a new space without going, welcome! And I love it so much. Fair. I don't agree, but you have the right to your own opinion. I love the polite way of people telling you that you're wrong. And I'm not even saying that to be cheeky. Like, I kind of get entertainment about that. Nice mug. Is that coffee? It's water. It's my story. I'm sticking to it. I actually did used to do my morning coffee in this, except this holds 2 runs of the Keurig, which, you know, that I really shouldn't be drinking that much coffee first thing in the morning, so I switched to a smaller mug. But yeah, that used to be my morning coffee. Thank you there, Husky. Anyone else literally just unsubscribe? Yeah. Well. Does anyone else love this kind of stream where people just talk and answer questions? I hope so. That's kind of what they are. Just wait till this week's episode for a fun welcome from Cassian. Ooh, you tease, John. A lot of Pixar stuff has gone downhill, especially Disney Plus fodder. Yeah, I mean, like, Pixar is saying they're going to get off the sequel thing, but even a lot of their new stuff hasn't been great. Like, I really can't stand Brave, to be honest. But Coco was solid. Inside Out was solid. Still don't love them as much as a lot of people. Favorite Doctor Who costume? I'm partial to when Capaldi had the hoodie. So he always kind of had the magician coat, but Series 10, and I think also in part of Series 9, he had a hoodie with that. I kind of liked that, the contrast to that. Anyone remember Gigantic? No? Well, doesn't matter now because it's not happening. I thought that looked interesting, so yeah, that was a bummer. Sitting around BSing is the best kind of live stream. Woo! I'm doing it right, apparently. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, folks. If you haven't figured that out yet, then welcome to the channel. Overdue Sherlock reviews. I mean, it's just so not topical now. Like, unless I could come up with a point, like a through line, a theme to address them, like just going back and redoing them to redo them. I mean, for me, like I say redo, it's not like I only reviewed Series 4 for Sherlock, but if they ever announce a new series, I'll go back and I'll do reviews for the old ones, because it'll be topical again. Yes, that's me copying to the degree to which whether or not I think anyone clicks on it determines what I actually sink my time into. Because, yeah, it's a factor. And anyone who claims it isn't is lying. Because if you're on YouTube, you want people to see what you do. I keep forgetting Brave was a Pixar movie. It felt so generic. Brave had an amazing lead character and a really cool setting and just such a pedestrian story. I couldn't connect to it at all. If you had to marry a Doctor Who villain, who would it be? My gut instinct is to say Missy, but I'm not sure I can stand to be manipulated that much. So, let me think. Jeez. No, I'm still going to go with Missy. Because it would suck, but at least for chunks of it, it would be fun. I think you should live stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah. Yes, any drunk review. Oh, boy. Here's the thing about drunk reviews. They are not fun to edit. Because I've done drunk once. Because I had to drink to get through, The Inhumans. First 2 episodes. So, you look at my video on that. I'm pretty toasted by the end of it. But that was a pain to edit. I am a 28-year-old man in a 31-year-old's body. Do you get this reference? Nope. Sorry. Would you ever go back and drunk review movies that your friends haven't seen yet? Oh! Yeah, that's a pointed question. Because years ago... Okay, well, first of all, before I tell anybody this, John... Have you seen that movie yet? Or have you still not seen it? Because that's going to be the determining factor in this. So, years ago, because he's in the chat, John Van Luling. For folks who don't listen to the podcast stream, which is the vast majority of people, I know that. He was my co-host back when there was Go Home Hollywood, You're Drunk. And so way back... He told me he had never seen Batman v Superman. And so I proposed us sitting down to watch it with booze and record him seeing it for the first time ever and me just laughing my butt off as he did, and then, you know, maybe putting it up as a on the podcast feed as like a commentary track and editing it down to highlights for the YouTube channel. And I never got around to it. And apparently he still hasn't watched it. So yeah, probably should make that happen. And also, John, apparently Roya hasn't seen it yet either. So I might rope him in as well. Ever seen any of Being Human, either the UK version or the other one? I saw the first series of Being Human. I'm not sure what I expected of it, but it didn't quite click for me. I think the thing was, I felt like the setup lent itself to something less serious than how it took itself. Like, you tell me a show is about a ghost, a vampire, and a werewolf all sharing an apartment. I guess I expected something a little campier, a little more fun, a little less dour than the show ended up being. It was fine for what it was. It didn't quite click with me. Ooh, date night. Oh boy, I'm gonna take that as a confirmation. Were you sad when Olash left? Yes, that broke my heart. That absolutely broke my heart because, boy, this is turning into a decent promotion for the Improvised Weapons podcast. So if you're a Patreon supporter of Improvised Weapons, then you know this, or at least had the opportunity to hear it. Back when I interviewed the cast for a video that I put up last year, I also brought them gifts based off their characters. So John's character, the dwarven cleric who has to have an ale with breakfast every single day, he got a tankard with Clan Stormhammer on it because that was his character. And the bard got I got wooden business cards because he's always adding new titles to his business cards. And I got a magic rod for the wizard and for the warlock, and for the wizard I got this little leather-bound tome that said magical tome of mine, because her entire thing is being really possessive about the about anything that contains knowledge. But my favorite character is the party's barbarian. Their half-orc barbarian named Olash, whose backstory was being the tambourine player in a band. And for her, I got a tambourine that on the drum of the tambourine it said Olash, and it had a severed arm doing this because it had become her thing where when they get into combat she takes off people's arms. So when the player for that character, when Nicole Sisk moved and had to drop out of the podcast and they wrote Olash out, it broke my heart. Oh, it hurt so much. Can you do drunk reviews to the live action Disney remakes? I'm not going to promise that I will, but I will say that's about the only way you'll get me to watch them. So, do you watch Rick and Morty? I don't. I don't like the characters. They, I just don't enjoy spending time with those people. Not exactly your theme, but have you watched any Riverdale? I haven't. Liz has. She hates Archie. I need to start in on Happy. I've heard good things about that. What Doctor Who character has the most in common with yourself? Ooh. Huh. That's a really good question. I don't even know how to answer that. I might have to ponder that one. Then I need to ship you, Booze. The circle of life must happen. Oh dear. Already watched Class? Nope, still haven't. But I think I'm going. Oh, hey there, Meg. I was trying to find the drunk review because I forgot the name. It gave me a video from 5 years ago. You look so different, dude. Not to mention the, yeah, I mean, anything from this year is going to look better because I got the better camera thanks to the Patreon support. Woo, plug that. But yeah, it's a bit of a different look. You go far enough back in the feed. Especially some of the videos where like I'm scruffy and didn't shave. I look at those now and I'm like, who's that guy? He looks rugged. The live-action remakes aren't that bad. If you want a genuinely insufferable live-action Disney film, go watch Old Dogs. Well, no, I don't want a genuinely insufferable live-action film. That's my point. And it's not... My anger at the live-action remakes isn't that they're bad. It's that they are the epitome of pointless. Anyone remember the name of that cartoon Doctor Who episode with 10? Which one? There was few. There was Dreamland. There was also Infinite Quest. I feel like there was another one. I can't remember now. What was the name of that drunk review, by the way? Okay, hang on. Give me a second and I'll tell you. I love that I'm now dipping into my own stuff to help somebody find a video. Okay, so the video is called Inhumans Premiere Reaction, parentheses, with alcoholic assistance. It's from 2017, October 3rd. So that is that video. I remember the Infinite Quest because they showed it on Totally Doctor Who. Remember that? No, I don't remember Totally Doctor Who. But I have seen the Infinite Quest. Excuse me. Council of Geeks is the YouTube librarian. Like funnily enough, that's Liz's actual occupation, is being a librarian. So I kind of get a kick out of that. I wish they do a Doctor Who animated series alongside the TV series. I feel like that would be oversaturation a little bit. Like if they wanted to do something like that, I would say only do it if they're going to do it like during the summer, like when the show isn't airing. But like I think part of what was a mistake with Class was having it air literally alongside new episodes, because it immediately begs the comparison as opposed to giving us something that, you know, holds us over between the series of the show we already love. I think the only drunk review I saw was Spoonie's take on Twilight. Is he okay these days? Not last I knew. But then again, I never really followed the guy, so I haven't exactly kept tabs. I kind of was peripherally aware of kind of the meltdown that happened there. I say meltdown, that implies like one thing happened. It was like a slow degradation. Again, to my understanding, not an expert. If you got some free time, check out Nelvana. What Nelvana was going to do with Doctor Who, courtesy of the TARDIS Wiki. I'll try and remember doing that. You ever watch the Sarah Jane Adventures? I did the first two series. The problem is it was aimed very clearly at a younger demographic, which that's not actually a fault of the show. It's just I was too old for it, kind of. It didn't appeal to my adult sensibilities because it was aimed at kids. So, again, not actually a fault of the show. For what it was pretty good. It's just I never felt the need to watch the third series or go back and rewatch it since. Last thing I needed alcoholic assistance to watch something was Trial of a Time Lord. Have you seen that? I haven't gotten to that one yet, actually. I love your Mogwai on your shelf. I've always thought that was cool. It takes me back as a kid. Now, here's the question. Do you prefer the first or second Gremlins? Because I am a holder of the unpopular opinion that Gremlins 2 is vastly better. What was that weird It clown thing in Sarah Jane Adventures? They really did not need to do that like at all. Do you think the characters from Gotham could return in a future Batman story or their own standalone movie? I mean, could they? Yes. Will they? No, absolutely not. I mean, the show didn't come to a natural end. It was canceled because the ratings weren't what Fox wanted them to be. The show's done. Like, I would like more Gotham, but that is. Gremlins 2 more creative, Gremlins 2 more funny and creative. Ooh, nice! I'm in good company. Gremlins 1 is a timeless classic. Don't at me. Look, you're entitled to your wrong opinion. Don't worry about it. It's been so long since I saw them that I might be wrong. First, but haven't watched either in decades. Here's a cut for you. First or second, Christine Kachanski. So that's a Red Dwarf preference question. I'm partial to the first one. I get why they recast, but like nostalgically, I prefer original Kachanski, personally. Will you see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 if it comes out? Of course I will. Why wouldn't I? The truth is unpopular? Yes. Frequently. Never saw Red Dwarf. It's not for everybody, but I love it. I just remember Phoebe Gates telling that absurd Santa story. Okay, that's the first movie. One of the great moments of the second movie is she starts to launch into another story like that, and Billy just kind of shoos her off. It's like, no, not right now, not right now. And then, so she winds up to do that kind of thing again, and they stop her in the second one. I love it. First Kachanski all day, every day. Second was too posh for me. Oh, fair. That is a fair distinction between the two. Second Kachanski for me, she sold me a bastard. Have you read the Percy Jackson books? Nope. Was it the constant farting Slitheen that put you off the Sarah Jane Adventures? No, I'd actually forgotten that. I'm sure it didn't help. Do you have a preference of film or television? Broadly speaking, no, not really. I mean, I kind of favor film slightly because I like a complete experience, whereas television, you're kind of on the hook for, especially these days with everything being serialized, you're on the hook for years, and you may or may not end up happy with when it's done. But, I mean, TV, when it's done well, can absolutely do stuff that film can't. So, I enjoy both. I am to get up in 5 hours. Go to sleep! My goodness. Overdue Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Probably not, because I can't imagine that there's anything that I'm going to say that Passion of the Nerd hasn't already said and said better. So, which Holly from Red Dwarf do you prefer? I do prefer original Holly. Both Hollies were good. I do like original a little bit better. Prefer theater to drive-in for experience? Yes, I do enjoy drive-ins. And there actually is one in Vermont, so that's nice. But, yeah, I kind of prefer the theater. You buy the theory that they fake fired James Gunn and waited until the controversy was over to get him back? Having dug into it a bit, there's a certain amount of credence that I give to that, but not completely. Like, so here's where I sit on that. For how quietly they were able to bring him back on board and how many people that would have had to clear it in the months, and how long, like, renegotiating severed contracts and everything would have taken, they probably were working on getting him back almost immediately after firing him. However, I do not believe that initial firing was in any way fake. I think that was Disney doing the standard corporate response to that kind of controversy and severing ties. What I think may very well have been the case was that upon review, they realized, crap, we shouldn't have done that. But rather than bring him back while the heat was still on the whole topic, to basically, behind closed doors, negotiate to get him back again. Because, I mean, if the whole thing was planned from the beginning, the firing and everything, he would not have signed on to do Suicide Squad 2, which he's going to do before Guardians 3. And also keep in mind, they had geared up pre-production. They had to shut it down. They lost significant money doing this. So I think that initial firing was legit. I think probably almost immediately they started working on getting him back, though. There's a drive-in about 45 minutes to an hour from me. I don't know how far it is from where I am. But Liz and I have gone to the drive-thru a few times. Favorite historical character depiction in Doctor Who? Mine has to be Vincent Van Gogh. Handles him dealing with depression. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, easily that one. What about Xena Warrior Princess? I've only seen little bits of it. Only seen a couple of episodes. Jumping off to put Momo-chan to bed. Remember your Dwarf Scout motto and good night, chat. Let's hit it in credit. Oh, you shameless self-promoter, John. I would take my hat off to you if I was wearing it, but I'm not. So good night. And say hi to Curdy and the kid. I'll sleep when I'm dead. That's what you think. Do you listen to any other Team Puma Knife podcasts? I've been meaning to check some of the other ones out. I haven't gotten to it though, just because like I'm a little reticent to, like, I'm so behind on the podcasts I already listen to on most of them. Improvised Weapons is one of the only ones I'm current on that I'm kind of reticent to like load up more that I'm just gonna fall behind on. I triple dog dare you to watch the first episode of season 12 while drunk on its first airing. I can't do that because I'm only 13. No, I don't think I will be doing that. To end the stream, favorite music, and what are your pronouns? Meg with the drink questions. Very nice. So yeah, people who are new here, those questions get asked so often that we've turned them everybody take a drink questions. And yes, we'll wrap up there because I actually do need to try and finish watching Good Omens and maybe get a little editing done. Maybe. We'll see. But everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the chat. And I hope everybody has a good week. I hope mine gets better. I really hope that when I get the call from the mechanic on my car that it doesn't break my wallet. I'm legitimately really paranoid about that. But it'll be what it is. So right now, thank you all. Hope you have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, folks, you are beautiful. You are valid. You are loved. You are the council. And I am very happy to have you.